Okay, and welcome. We're going to go ahead and work on the next part of the assignment. This is going to be done individually, which is why you have this instructional video to follow. During the video, remember, you'll be asked to pause it several times and then go complete the work that I ask you to do. Please make sure to do that because we are going to be covering a lot of information throughout this whole video, and you will just not remember all of the stuff that we have. So anytime I say pause the video, please make sure you pause it, you go back, you do that step before you come back, and then continue where you left off at. So I have pulled up our objectives page right now. If you're watching this video, it's because you've already done this first part here, which is creating the document and typing your sentences about flower field using the correct format. You've typed this. I've already talked to you about grouping it, and so you should have something that looks similar to mine, where I have maybe one or two sentences possibly grouped together with spaces in between. These are going to be your informational slides. So if your document doesn't look something like mine, maybe you ought to pause this and ask me to make sure I double check that you're ready for this next step. So right now we're going to go and move ahead and actually create our presentation. So we're going to start by doing this through Classroom, and I'll show you the steps for this. When we create the presentation, we're going to make sure that we have our 5 informational slides using our information from our document. We're also going to add a title slide and a closing or reflection slide. So this is going to be the first part of the video. Depending on how long this video is, I may split it into 2 and work on the Thrive requirements in a separate video. So let's create our presentation first. So I'm going to go back to Classroom. And in Classroom, in my work section here, this is the same place that I created my document. I'm going to go ahead and go to the Add, and I'm going to do Slides this time instead of a doc. So if I click Add Slides, that's going to create a presentation for me. Just a few seconds here. You should see it pop up right there. It is. And now I have my presentation. So it's right underneath of my document. We're going to go ahead and open up that presentation, and we'll get ready to get started on our work here. So first thing, let's go ahead and pause the video right here. I want you to go to Classroom. I want you to create your presentation, and I want you to go ahead and open it up. So go ahead and do those steps and then come back to the video. Okay, ready to move on now. You have your presentation sitting here. It's pretty much blank. You don't really have anything going on with it right now. We're going to add our information first, and then we're going to do kind of all the fancy stuff last, because those are our Thrive stuff. So what I really need to have open is basically my 2 important tabs here are going to be my document with my sentences and then my presentation. And you can see the very first slide that opened up would be our title slide. So if you remember back to last year, if you were here, when we worked with our haiku deck, we created a title slide, and it had a little bit of a different format than the rest. And this does the same thing. So basically we have a click to add title. So if you click in there, you're able to start typing. And the title is going to have to be something that you probably come up with. And so you're going to say something like Flower Field trip, or field trip, or experience, or something like that. You could say my flower field trip, something to that degree. And then here in the subtitle, that's where I want you to put your name. Okay, so you're going to have your title right here, and then you have a subtitle with your name down below. And that's going to be the title slide. So go ahead and work on that. When you get that finished, come back to this video and we'll start adding our other slides in there. So go ahead, pause, create your title slide, put your title on there, put your name on there, and then be ready for the next step. Okay, so you've created your title slide, and we're ready to move on to the next thing. We're ready to start doing our info slides. And this is going to be a really quick, easy process because, like I said, we've already done all of the major work over here on our document. It's just going to be a matter of kind of copying and pasting, finding our font and sizing it the way we want to now. So back here in my presentation, I'm going to go ahead and click the little plus sign, and that's going to add a new slide. This is going to be kind of the default when you just hit the little plus sign. There's a whole bunch of different layouts for slides. If you really want to get into that, you can at the very end when you have time. We're just going to kind of stick to this just basic title with the text down below. Now to add my text here from my document, what I'm going to do is I'm going to highlight this, and I'm actually going to use my you can't do a right click and copy. You're actually going to have to say Control and then C to copy this. So I'm going to highlight, I'm going to hold down Control on my keyboard and type the letter C. If you have any troubles with this, just please ask for help. Somebody will help you. You get the hang of it fast. Then go back to the presentation and click in the box that you want. And then this time I'm just going to hold Control and type the letter V. And that's going to paste that in there. Now, this right here looks pretty lousy because I have some pretty small words here. I don't really have anything else going on. So this is kind of the fun part here where you get to kind of play around with size. I'm going to make this pretty big because I want people to be able to see it. Presentation needs to be visual. So I'll have I'll make it real nice and big, and I can also play around with fonts a little bit if I want to, kind of like that. Now, I will give you this, try to keep your font about the same size on each slide. Maybe some slides you may have to shrink it down a little bit if you have more. And try to keep the font the same on each one. It just makes it look a little bit cleaner and a little bit nicer if you kind of keep that consistency across all your slides. So there's one slide. I'm just going to kind of repeat this process. I'll hit plus for another one. I'll come here. This time I have two sentences. I'll highlight both of those sentences. I'll do my Control C. I'll go back here, I'll do Control V. I'm going to highlight, this was the font that I had picked on the first one, I'll keep with that. And then I'm going to make this one, I'll see if 60 will fit. See, 60 won't fit on this one, so I might shrink it down to about 48. Still a little big. I can even put my own numbers in there, so about 45, that looks pretty good. So what I'm going to do is keep just doing that process, just adding in those slides. So I'm going to end up doing 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 informational slides, which is I think most of us have. So once you go ahead and pause the video, you're going to go ahead and create all of your slides. I'm going to go ahead and create mine off camera. When you're done, we'll come back and we'll talk a little bit about that reflection slide. Okay, so my slides are created. Hopefully yours are too. I do want to cover one little thing. This little box here that says click to add title. If you don't add anything in it, you're not going to see anything. So if you look over here to the left, these are your little thumbnails of each of your slides. You can see that each of those slides actually does not have that click to add title. So if you leave that blank, you don't have to worry about those letters. Those things won't show up. So if you try to click on there and try to delete, it's just going to keep popping back. You can leave it blank. It's not a big deal. All right, so I have my title slide. I've got my 5 informational slides that I have copied in from my document. I'm now ready to add one more slide, which is going to be a closing or reflection slide. This one you're going to kind of do on your own. So I'm going to go ahead and hit a plus sign. And this one you might want to put a title on here and just put like the word maybe reflection, if I spell it correctly, reflection or review, something like that. I don't know. And then down in here, what I want you to do is I want you to do maybe 2 sentences on your overall experience. So just type me up a couple sentences about what you took from your flower field trip. Maybe you had something that was like kind of a special event that happened, or maybe you had some thoughts or some ideas as you were walking through and kind of acting like the pioneers did way back when. So go ahead and write up a couple of sentences here. That's right, I said 2 sentences, and we'll change that. All right, there we go. 2 sentences here in this spot, and remember to keep that same font that you're using and try to stick to the same size roughly. Once you get that done, then you have successfully completed all of the survive requirements, and so now you're ready to start moving on to the thrive stuff. And this video is getting kind of long, so I'm actually going to break that into 2. So the thrive will be a separate video that you'll watch, and that's where we're going to get into kind of really playing around with the format of our slides, adding some pictures from our experience, and doing some other kind of fun stuff with like transitions and stuff. So once this part is finished, please have Mr. Meyer check this and give you the okay to move on to the thrive stuff. So very good work. Keep it up, and I'll see you in the next video.